Today in OS, operating system, we will guide you on how to install Debian 12 codename Bookworm.
So let's go to our desktop right now. Let's try to get the Debian 12. Let me see what kind of Debian are we going to use. The Mate, the Standard, or the Cinnamon. Let's just use the GNOME. So let's try to install this one. How to install? Let's try to click this one and go full screen. So yes, we will be in our live installer. So let's go to install with installer. So we have our English as our first settings language. So let's click continue. I'm here in Philippines. No, I'm not in Philippines, but I'm a Filipino, but I gonna use Philippines as my country. Yes, it's still Philippines. So we are now installing the packages, the components. So let's wait. So now the configuration. So let's configure the name host will be, yes, I will just use the Debian as my host name. So I need to have my root as we all know, Debian has the option to have the root as no password. So, but of course, you can always put a password. But the thing is, if you don't have the password or the sudo or the super user do command, of course you're prone to some let me see, some viruses, if there is. If you encounter a very sketchy website, so I'll just leave it to you. If you want to put a password, it's okay. If it's not, well, it's okay too. For me, I rather let you put your password so that you will have your security. Okay, so I'll just put my password and re-enter my password. If you want to have no password, just don't type any. Okay, so let's continue. The username will be, of course, my channel, RialbbeTV, and the account name will be the same, RialbbeTV. Choose your password. It's still my 4-digit super user do password, but if you have some other stuff like for your personal account, you can always use different password. So we have the guided. If you want to have the partition, you have the guided, and you have the entire disk with setup with LVM, and the other one is the entire disk with setup encrypted LVM or manual. So because I'm just using this as for the whole hard disk, I just gonna select the entire disk with the guided. So I only have the 55 gigabytes, so I'll continue. Click continue. So I want to have in only one partition, but if you have some different user in one computer, you can always do the separate home partition or the separated home and var or var and temp or template. So I'll just use the one partition. Now finish partition and write the disk. Okay, I'll click continue. And there is a question right here. Of course, always try to read the question and the procedures before you continue. In this list below will be written to the dist. Otherwise, you will be able to make further changes manually. So the partition table is SDA, and the swap into the partition 5, the external or Ext4 will be in partition 1. Do you want to write changes? Yes or no? Yes. And then let the installer do their thing. So let's just wait for a couple of minutes until this another guided installation will pop up. Did you know that before this Debian 12 Bookworm installer was a little bit harder, previous version? So this one has a different type of installing compared to the previous one. This one a little bit easier compared to before the previous version. So that is why this is much better compared to Debian, I think 10 or 11. And right now we are fortunate to have this. This is one of the best thing that Debian releases, a new set of instruction, but it is lighter compared to before. It was really like you need to have great knowledge to install a Debian Linux on your, or GNU Linux in your system. So you have the network mirror you can use to supply your supplement your software. That's including your installation of media. This way you can make your newer version of your software available. So we'll use yes. Let's continue with yes. And you have the configuration where the country that you could have your archive mirrors. So I'll just look for the Philippines if they have. No, if they don't have, well, I will be preferring to Singapore or maybe in Taiwan. So probably Singapore or Taiwan. Well, let's go for Taiwan. It is much nearer. So we have different organization Debian archive mirrors, like the deb.debian.org, or in Taiwan as ftp.tw.debian.org, or you can select any of this Debian are all good choice. So I think I'll go for the let me see, I'll just go for the twdebian.org. You can always select different types of Debian mirrors right here in Taiwan, but you can always change this in your configuration settings if you are already in your Debian 12 Bookworm OS. So let's click continue. So if you have the proxy, just leave it blank. If you don't have, it's just okay. So let's click continue. That is for, I think, for some of the some of the link, but at the same time you can always configure that during your in your settings configuration in your Debian 12 or in your Debian 12 settings configuration. So right now we could see the installation for the GRUB bootloader. So installation will be primary drive. Yes, I will be in primary drive. So now we will try to see where could we install the GRUB bootloader. So I'll just use the SDA for my GRUB installer. That is your primary. It is now on our SDA drive for our bootloader. So right now it is now finishing the installer. I think we need to choose some of the date, time, or something like that. So we will try to see after this one, because I just used the GNOME because if you download the whole package, you have to install the different type of the desktop environment. But I just choose the installer for the GNOME desktop environment. But if you have the generic, so you have to check the different types of desktop environment compared to right now. I only have the GNU installer, but I still wanted to show you next time the different types of desktop environment you can choose from the original or from the main installer they have. So I only have the GNU, so that is why it doesn't ask me what kind of desktop environment I will use in this particular Debian 12 Bookworm. As I could see in my other laptop, they have the choices of desktop environment like the GNU, Xface, GNU Flashback, KDE Plasma, Cinnamon, Mate, LXDE, LXQT, and of course they have the SSH and the web server. So this is actually good for a website. If you want to have a website with a desktop environment and with the Debian 12 Bookworm as your server, so this is really awesome to use, because you have the option to use Debian 12 Bookworm as your web server. So right now, to continue, we will try to reboot with this computer. Let's try to reboot this computer. So it is processing right now. So it has, alright, so there you have it. You have your GRUB bootloader. So let's try to open this one. Let's click and try to open for the very first time. As you can see, it is still large font, and it is a little bit smaller. It's just only stretched. So we need to change the appearance of this desktop. So we need to click this one first, enter the super secret password for our Debian 12 Bookworm GNU Linux OS. So it is very tiny and very large, so we need to change the settings first. Let's continue. English, Philippines, Filipino. No, I was just gonna use Filipino English for typing. I'll just gonna turn off my location, skip this one, and all done. So let's try to change the settings. Let's try to look for the display. Where is the display? Ah, there it is. Sorry, I didn't see it. So it is on the resolution of 800 by 600, so we'll try to use it in a higher ratio, or I mean resolution. You will use the 1920 by 1080. So let's click this one. Now we are in full screen. Let's keep it that way. So let me see. How about appearance? I need to have a maximum and a minimum. So the appearance, let's go for dark. My eyes are getting eye strain. So let's try to have the ink splat. I like the ink splat. Why is it I like the ink splat? So let's see what could we find in our desktop. So we have our activity on the upper left, and the upper right we have the power button and the speakers and the network. So as you can see, I only have 56% battery, and the screenshot right here. Let's try to have our screenshot. We have our select only. We have the full screen and the windows, and we could also screen recording, but I think there is no audio on this kind of screen recording, so too bad. I need the OBS. This one is for settings. Yes, we have also the lock and unlock. Enter the super secret password. Yes, cool. The power button, you have the suspend, the restart, and the power off, plus the log out. We have the speakers. What kind of speaker? Is it amplified or without amplifier? So sound settings, let's go to sound settings. So as you can see, I have all these tests. Let's go for the test. Cool. So let's try to see about the GNU Linux Debian 12 Bookworm. Okay, we have the GRUB system Wayland, not Xorg or X11, and they are using the GNU version 43.4, and of course I'm using the Oracle virtual machine. Let me see, I'm also using the i5 11th generation processor with only 8 gigabytes with the physical RAM. Let me see if I have put a resource of a swap. Oh yes, I have the swap of 1 gigabyte swap, 2 gigabytes of memory running right now, with of course 8 gigabytes of physical memory or random access memory, and the virtual memory or virtual random access memory is only 1 gigabytes. I only gave this a 1 CPU, but I still have a lot of CPU, but I just gave this one as only 1. So kind of cool. How about the process? Very few, only like the GNU shell like 23, 13, very minimum. So let's go to the website of the Debian so that you will know where to get your ISO file. Let's go to debian.org, double click for maximum. So the website, it's still very simple, like type of website. You can always change your language right here. You have options, language right here, down here, and we have some information from the community and the operating system. So to download, just go right here, and if you want to use the net installer, yes, you can use this one, but I'm using the other type of installer. So let's go to our mirror page. Let's go to other, like you can have the Taiwan, Poland, Norway, New Zealand. You can use all of this as your mirrors. So let's go to the ISO. Oh, there it is. So you have options right here. So as you can see, you can go to the CD image / release / current - live / AMD 64 / ISO - hybrid for different types of your installer, like your Cinnamon ISO, or your GNU, KDE, LXDE, LXQT. Let me move down. Mate, the standard, which is I haven't used it as my example. You also have the XFace or the XFCE installer ISO file. So you can use also this one, the standard, but you have to have great knowledge, like to select your desktop environment. But if you don't want to have that problem by knowing the different types of desktop environment, so I'm gonna leave the link down below, or you could like check out different types of installer directly. Maybe next time I'll do the Mate, or maybe I'll use the standard so that you can see what is different types of desktop environment. Or maybe I'll just insert maybe I'll insert the video from DistroTube with the different type of desktop environment when he installed the standard ISO file in his tutorial video for how to install the Debian 12 Bookworm GNU Linux OS. So let's try to see this one. Down here we have the project news. When was the release date? It was released on the news that on the 10th of June 2023 it was released, the Debian 12 Bookworm. So there you have it. Let me see what kind of application do they have. So the application in their GNU desktop environment, we have the contacts, weather, 2048, clock, maps, the GNU maps, the solitaire, the dictionary, video, the utilities, terminal, chess, system monitor, settings, scanner, calendar, calculator, the reference that you will need for this operation. You also have the GNU extensions. You have also, what kind of game is this? 5 and more. Cheese, of course, you need to have the webcam to record. We have 4 in a row. Golden Dictionary, H-Date, Harry Tool. In the other page, we have the keyboard input method, and all of our LibreOffice. Lights off. I couldn't remember what is lights off. Mahjong. You also have the Minesweeper, or the Mines for short, And all those stuff right here, you can see even the robot are here. Yay. Sudoku. Yeah, I love to play Sudoku. The Synaptic Package Manager for your software. And of course, you have also the Software Center for the GNU. Nice, you have two options to download your software. You also have all those stuff right here. Yes, so this is help file. Yeah, okay. And your this is for the email. Nice. So let me see. No more. So that's it in our desktop installation of your Debian 12 Bookworm GNU Linux operating system. So if you have some questions, feel free to ask me. Write the comments down below. So thank you for hanging out, and I hope to see you soon. So let's try to log out. So at least you could see the log out again. Of course, I will not log out. I will just shut down. Shut down.
So that's it for now for our OS operating system. I hope I could help you and navigate on how to install Debian 12 codename Bookworm. I'm Blair saying bye for now and see you in the next episode. And remember that science means knowing. That's why science is cool. Ciao!